Hi and welcome to Dragon Tavern with myself, Oliver Dungeon Master, and
Hey!
reviewing episode 4 of Vox Machina Origins.
Issue
4.
Do it every time.
Well, it wouldn't be a review of it if I didn't completely fuck that up. Yeah, issue 4 of Vox Machina Origins, the wonderful story of Vox Machina.
Yeah, and just so you guys know out there, it's doing very well. In Comixology, it's #1 in terms of individual sales. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this is not going to be the only story arc of Critical Role that will
become a comic.
Yeah. Do you think they'll continue the story, or do you think they'll go new characters?
Good question. I think they might do both. I think they might be releasing 2 kind of sets, depending on how pushed it makes the creators.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because it could be way too much work to be able to, produce 2 comic books every month.
Yeah, true.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
So basically what we're going to do here is what we do with every Vox Machina review. We'll give you a spoiler-free part at the start, and then we will flash a big sign that says, warning, spoilers for the second half.
We've been asked to make it more flamboyant. So if it is more flamboyant, it means I decided to put the effort in. If it's not, I didn't.
He's editing this one.
If you could tell.
So so here's the let's just talk.
All right.
In
So again, the story was written by Matt Colville and Matthew Mercer.
Yep.
And the art is by the brilliant Elisia Sampson, who does a lot of Critical Role art. But the cover, which is typically the one thing that does change, was drawn by 2 people. Tess Fowler.
I thought you were going to say Tupac.
Yes, he came from the grave to draw a Critical Role cover.
That's why it was impressive.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Tess Fowler and Tamara Bonvillain.
Once again, we have Dave doing the names, but this time
I pulled it off.
But that's what I was about to say. He actually nailed it.
I practiced
and we have
a good 2 minutes on that. Yes.
Well, I do not doubt that, although I do kind of doubt it because I think it was probably more like half an hour. But anyway, yeah. So we've got the continuation. One thing.
So we're doing generalizations.
One thing I noticed that they were doing that they didn't do in the last 3 was the text with the kind of like bubble around it. So instead of having like a square or a speech bubble, in a couple of the scenes they just had text with kind of like a cloud-like outline.
That was on the, let's call it evil writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I actually found that a bit more difficult to read than the other stuff, because the text itself is kind of intricate and it's got detail to it.
It's supposed to convey a different tone.
Yeah, no,
so
absolutely.
when you read it, you get a different voice in your head of how it comes across.
Yeah.
I didn't find it hard to read, but I do read a lot of comics. So
and
you don't read too many comics as well, so you don't read as much as I do.
No, I read more books than you do.
Yeah, I read book.
I read more than you.
I'm reading The Passage at the moment, look it up.
I'm reading Lady and the Monk for the 7th time.
Are we competing?
Yeah.
Why are we competing?
Yeah. Because I want to be the... No.
Why? The one that reads books? I am the one that reads books.
Also reading Terry Pratchett.
I don't care anymore, continue.
Yeah, so text me. It was a little bit hard to read, but that could just be because my eyes are screwed. The colour, again, they've stuck with the same kind of palettes for the different places. I think they took a bit more. Elisia Sampson took a bit more of an animated approach to some of the characters' expressions. Some of the people that were kind of background characters or whatever when they were talking had very interesting in-action pose kind of facial expressions.
Did it put you off?
No, I thought it was wonderful.
Oh,
I thought it really added to the characterization of the characters.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed they are doing pretty well is even with the minor characters, they're giving a bit of weight behind them.
Yeah, they're not just kind of going, and then there's
it's just a background. Okay,
no.
So it's just like a red shirt. It doesn't matter what he says.
Yeah.
They've really got personality of the offshoot characters.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there's one shot where you've got 2 of the main heroes talking, and in the background it's just kind of a general pub scene and a tavern. But if you look closely, each one of the people in the background is as exquisitely drawn as the main characters up the front. So they're really putting the effort in. That makes
a lot of detail.
Good,
I
yeah.
like that.
And I still feel the characters are alive. The way they move, the way the kind of like sketch lines. It pops out of the
There's
page.
a lot of heart.
Yeah.
To the comic, which has surprised me, because normally when you get to the 4th issue, sometimes it kind of feels like, okay, the good stuff is already gone, it's kind of just grinding through the story.
Right.
But it really feels like this is just another chapter to it, and it doesn't feel like it's lost anything. I would say in the terms of, like, if we kind of scale all of them, of say which one's your favourite or not, this is kind of around my least favourite, but still good.
Cool. I'd say, my favourite's probably number 2, I'd say. But, so Yeah. They're still keeping true to the characters. There was not one moment in this where I thought, oh, Grog wouldn't have said that, or Scanlan wouldn't have said that. Absolutely true to the characters, which I love.
And a bunch of meta-comedy as well.
Yeah.
Scanlan is still showing the meta-comedy.
Yeah. Which is great, because there is meta-commentary in D&D, and there is certainly a critical role.
Yeah. I don't... It felt like a bit too much this time, but I don't know whether I was just in a bad mood when I read it.
I've got a couple of notes of fourth wall breaking that I thought was really good.
Okay, yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask, quite a lot of swearing in this episode, quite a lot of heavy swearing. I think it kind of, for me, I mean, I know a lot of people, out there have views on swearing, but for me, it added to the realism of the fact that this is Vox Machina, this is Critical Role. It's not a fairy tale world. I mean, there's weight to the story and there's weight to the character.
It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
And I didn't really notice it until you brought it up.
Right.
I guess... Nah, it didn't bother me.
Didn't bother you? Yeah.
Nah, I can't say. I think I do read a lot of adult comic books, you can say. Like Walking Dead's a classic one.
Is that what they're calling it these days?
And a lot of stuff. And I guess I'm numb to it now.
Yeah, true.
But society's maybe numb to vulgar statements, so, that's...
It's a different video. Maybe we should do one about the state of the media imposing on society. But
because that fits into to our channel.
No, we'll just create another channel for that one.
Oliver says crap. I'll be in the background just saying, you're wrong!
That's not a channel, that's literally just our lives. Anyway, a lot more swearing around in this, but I felt like it was necessary for some of the moments. Although there was a bit where I thought, okay, this is quite a heavy swear word, you could have toned it down there, but it didn't bother me too much.
Ultimately, it was a good story. It's a good mid-chapter.
Yep.
Obviously, this is a 6-issue run, so we're deep in the middle of it, over halfway, and there's a good moments between Vax and Vex of showing that relationship, and showing what they mean to each other, and also how they act individually as well. I love that.
And then it actually ends with quite a nice little, you'll find out next time kind of thing.
Well, it ends with a very important character's name at the end.
Oh, yes!
So,
anyway, I need to talk about this now, so let's throw out the spoiler tag.
Let's not. What else should we talk about? Okay, we're going to go to spoilers, everybody. Spoiler, flamboyant or not sure. That's up right now. If you don't want to be spoiled, go buy the comic book and then watch this.
And don't subscribe to materialistic views on the world.
Like you do?
Spoiled.
Anyway.
Don't know what you're talking about, friend. Don't know what you're talking about.
He's dressing up just to go to a lady's house.
She's very special. Spoiler tag. Alright, so, essentially,
do you know what's okay? We started with the battle again, continuing on from last issue.
Yeah.
We find out her name as well is Zelda.
Mm-hmm. Nailed it.
Yes, I'm nailing these names at the moment. So Grug is in a bubble.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah. I had to pause to get it right. So Grog is still in the bubble. It was like kind of like a stasis bubble, and the all other 5 of them, so Tiberius, Vax, Vex, Scanlan, and Kiki, are all battling Zelda, and basically it ends up with Zelda kind of going for a mirror and running away with the mirror. It was the mirror, eh? The big.
That was the alchemist.
Is it the alchemist?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yes,
yeah. I was like mirror alchemist.
So basically, the alchemist pops his head around the door and says, "Kind of like, are you done? Can I come out yet?" And she's like, "Oh."
So he revealed himself to be in league with her.
And then she takes him through the mirror. She uses the mirror a few times throughout this episode. They kind of use it as a transportation module. Now, one of the really cool things about this fight was the use of the acorn.
Yeah.
So essentially, she throws an acorn on the ground and stamps on it, and immediately they're all plunged into darkness. Scanlan later figures out that there was a seed that she'd cast the spell darkness on, and then put it in an acorn so that the darkness, was concealed, and used it as a darkness bomb.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's really good.
It's kind of like a flashbang, but the opposite.
It's real cool kind of seeing a mechanic that actually is quite clever and well thought out, but it is a mechanic of the arcane, something that exists within a fantasy world. That kind of detail, I think, adds realism to the world.
Yeah.
So I love that.
It was a really good kind of battle, and this is the first battle together as well as a unit. I say unit because at the end of it, they all kind of go their separate ways. Because Vax and Vex don't want their help, and there's a nice meta comment of Scanlan saying, "I wonder who writes the dialogue." Yeah,
that's one of the fourth wall breaking moments that I wrote down, and one of my favourite bits of the comic, actually. Now, Vax and Vex do not want to be in debt to anyone, so that's still very much on their own, and it's basically only Keyleth who's actually fighting to try and keep the party together.
But she likes everybody.
Yeah. There's also a wonderful moment where Scanlan's talking to Grog. No, not Grog. The woman, Zelda, and
Zelda, the evil woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and essentially says, "What are you going to do? Stab me again?"
This is going to be the awkward moment. Was actually Vex.
Oh,
that
I read this like 10 minutes ago. I missed it. Yeah. So what are you?
You read it 10 minutes ago, so you should remember. So yeah, that actually happened. Sorry, Oliver.
No.
After the battle, Scanlan goes up to Vex. He's like, "What are you going to do? Stab me again?" And then there's a pause, and he stabs him again.
I thought that was okay. So this is the improviser and me talking. That reincorporation of a previous joke. Done well means that throughout the series there's going to be nods to the people that really pay attention to the comic and the subtleties. If you kind of skimmed through them, you wouldn't have picked up, are you going to stab me again? So that kind of comedy is one for
it reminds me of a very good comic called Invincible. So Invincible, written by Kirkman, the same one that does Walking Dead. Invincible does a lot of that reincorporation, like same scene again, but done in a different light. You probably can hear alarm, sirens.
Yeah, there's some kind of
incident,
drug raid, or
that's why the world's going to end while we're filming this.
Yeah, well, just tweet at us if the world's ending.
Yeah. Anyway, so Scanlan and Grog decide to go on their separate ways as well because they've got the artifact that they were looking for, the book.
Yeah.
And Tiberius and Kiki are kind of at a loss what to do, so they go back to the...
Another point on Tiberius, in the fight when he casts the spell, we get to see Draconic. They actually have symbols in the language Draconic, I'm assuming it's Draconic, but I would wager that internet cryptographers get translating, because if I know Matt Colville and Matt Mercer, and I think I do, that's probably going to be an actual language that we could learn. It might even be in the core books, or one of the 5th ed books that I've not come across. Let me know.
You know, really should start doing research for these things.
Probably.
Yeah.
Next week. Anyway.
Next week. Next issue.
Next issue. Yeah, exactly.
So basically there's an awkward introduction as well during that time, but Kiki tries to keep everyone together. They don't. They go their separate ways.
Yeah.
And then Zelda kidnaps Vex.
Yeah. So essentially comes through the mirror, grabs, pulls through.
Yeah. And now they're isolated for the first time, Vex and Vex.
Which, as you know, is not good for them because they're a unit. They're brothers and sisters, very cohesive. She also drinks a potion which turns her face into Vex at one point, so there might be a bit of doppelganger shenanigans going on as well.
There is a Vex doppelganger out there, if you remember.
Critical role.
Yes.
So essentially she says that she's going to use him as bait to bait the rest of the party to her so she can kill them.
And you can really see like Vex tries to sell that Vex is just going to leave him there.
Yeah.
But she knows better and Vex knows better as well.
Roll bluff, nat 3. No,
didn't work at all. So Vex basically needs to get help. So she goes to the inn, goes to Tiberius and Keyleth. Why do I keep on blanking on Keyleth's name? And trying get them to help, but then she has her inner, you can tell the inner turmoil that she has of not wanting to owe anyone, not wanting to rely on anyone, and then she leaves them, goes to Scanlan and Grog, tries to do the same thing, and then Scanlan actually says out loud that whole thing of what she's thinking, that she doesn't want people to owe her, or her to owe them, or they want something for the help and she has to rely on it, and then she ends up walking away, and that's exactly what she's thinking in her mind. So we basically heard Scanlan read out Vex's thoughts.
Yeah,
I really like that.
I thought it was quite a nice moment in the complexity and the depth of the characters of Vex and Vax in this episode. We get to see Vax is willing to do almost anything for his sister, including essentially sacrificing himself in a way to say she's not going to come, yada yada yada. We also get to see the side of Vex, which is that kind of lone wolf thing that she's got going on, and
the only one that she's ever opened up to is her brother, which is not there at the moment. So it was a really good character development, especially if you don't know Critical Role. You really got a taste of what Vex is as a character.
We also got the word doggo used.
Anyway,
well, I just thought that was interesting. That's an internet term, and they made it into
I was like Doge.
Doge.
Anyway.
Please don't bring that meme back. I hate that meme.
So Vex kind of leaves, but then Keyleth, because of her good nature, she runs out after Vex and has a discussion and basically convinces her to team up.
Yep, and there's a tiny bit of D&D comedy in there where she goes, just wait till I figure out wings, which I do believe is level 10, maybe level 12. Yeah,
not sure.
Wild shape, yeah.
So basically, like hesitantly, she agrees. They run off, and they actually run with the mention that they have to get something outside because her brother convinced her to leave a trinket behind.
And then in the little tiny thing that says next issue, Vax is trapped and maybe a bear as well.
So we're going to see
trinket!
Yeah.
Ha! Awesome.
See trinket.
I had no idea at what point, because I don't know pre-stream, I had no idea at what point Vex gets trinket.
I knew Vex got trinket pretty early on, but I wasn't sure whether this took place before or after. I assumed it took place after, but there was no mention of trinket at all so far, so I assumed it was going to happen after, but I guess it has happened.
We get trinket in the next episode, I cannot wait for that.
That's going to be good. We may also find out Zelda's...
What's her real name?
Iselda. Iselda.
Zelda.
Zelda. Yeah. I thought I was saying it right.
Okay, I just thought you were making a Legend of Zelda reference.
No, that's her actual name. She's talking to a mysterious voice as well, which is the text that he was talking about earlier. So hopefully we should find out who that is by the end of the issue, or we may not. So who knows? Could they be related to the Conclave? Could they be related to so many other things? Who knows?
So, that's the issue. I thought, really beautiful artwork as always. They're not cutting corners, which is great. I feel like they're rewarding the readers by throwing in reincorporation jokes. They're also giving nods to the true Critical Role. They're not... I honestly feel they're doing this for the art, not because someone said it and they thought, hey, we could make some money on that.
Yeah, they're definitely giving 110%, but they're making it accessible to people that don't know Critical Role.
Yeah, in fact, if you wanted to convert someone who was a comic book reader...
Yeah, this is a very, very good way of doing it. And obviously, if they watch Critical Role, it may still not be for them, but this is a very good way of like saying you can still be part of this world, but not like this type of content. You can actually like this kind of content and be part of the world.
And for me, Die Hard Critter, I just love seeing the stuff we never got to see, the story pre-stream.
And there's so many things that we still possibly could see. We did get to mention that Percy's character... his first character, not Percy. Not Percy. Sorry, Talison's first character, not Percy. We may see that character. Whether we may get a glimpse of Pike, who knows? I mean, she has already met Grog, but she hasn't been. She doesn't join the game until later on.
My theory would be, based on the kind of subtle nods and jokes that they're doing, is we will get a subtle nod.
I reckon you'll hear about the Dorolos.
Yeah.
Dorolos.
Yep. But I think it's not going to be too obvious. I think there'll be a couple of lines here or there that kind of hint at it.
And the best news is, because it's selling so well, we could get more. And that's going to be really exciting. And obviously we will make stupid videos on it.
Because that's our lives. Yeah.
We make that joke. But now...
It is.
It's not really a joke.
It's not a joke.
That's the reason...
This is what we do.
We say it out loud so we can laugh about it.
Yeah.
So the crying doesn't hurt so much. I think that's the reason why we say it. I
mean, how many hours a week do we put into the channel? Including live streams and everything? Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but we love it. And we're actually getting people commenting on our videos and stuff, which kind of validates it.
Sort of kind of validates.
Yeah. So thanks guys for watching Dragon Tavern. If you've got any suggestions for other things in the D&D world, for example, the Dungeons and Dragons movies or the cartoon from the 80s that you want us to watch.
Games or books, or because basically between now and the next issue, we're going to have to fill it with other Dragon Tavern stuff. So leave a comment down below of whatever you want us to review. I just touched your leg.
That was so hot.
Don't. I'm wearing shorts as well. It's really awkward.
It's hard to focus. You know?
Shut up. Just leave a comment down below of whatever you suggest, because we love doing this, and even though some people may not watch them, we like doing them, so we're just going to keep on doing them.
In fact, I never even knew there was a Dungeons and Dragons cartoon or movies, and now I've seen multitude episodes and movies, so thanks for helping us out with that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's about it.
So, for myself, Oliver Dungeon Master, and we bid you a good afternoon, morning, evening.
Are you just going to leave me here?